Behind me is the Flooded House Museum, run by levees.org. This building was set up to be a memorial to the devastation after Hurricane Katrina and the levee failures in the city. The house itself is meant to replicate the appearance of houses that would have been flooded. Portions of it have been decorated by artists to look just like a house that's been flooded. The other half of the house has actually been left as it appeared when they bought it, when it had been gutted down to the studs. So you can see what a lot of houses in New Orleans look like for years after the disaster. Let's go closer. You can't go into the house itself, but you can certainly look through the windows and get a good look and see what's going on in there.
Artists actually took great pains to actually show what this would have looked like. If you'll notice on the far right, you'll see the dresser, and you'll notice that there is a bit of a color change. And that would be the line of the water and how deep that it was here. So you'll see kind of that darker moment there. If you look toward the back of the room, you kind of see this kind of dark gray, if not black. That would be black mold. And that, from a public health standpoint, is not great for anybody. And that's what every house would have had. In fact, any house, any property that has flooding, within 24 hours, it has to be treated for mold, or guess what? We got mold. And it's very hard to kind of get rid of. You basically have to strip everything of it out. We look a little bit more onto like the sofa. You will see again that water line. And it doesn't happen all the time, but certainly this area would have had it, would be the speed of the water. So the water isn't just going to be, in this case, like water from the Gulf or like Pontchartrain. It's going to be anything along its path. Another little flood reminder would be, if you look along the wall again, you'll see that darker side, just like we saw on the dresser, and that is, again, a flood line. You would also have it on the houses as well. And the next season of Carnival, so Katrina happened August 29th, we rode on Carnival the next, that January, February, and some of the floats, they actually still had the flood line on it, just as a reminder of, look, this was like less than 6 months ago, and we're still here. Like, we're always going to be here no matter what.
Pardon a little bit of the grime on the windows, but this is the part of the house that's meant to replicate a flooded property. And having gutted plenty of houses on my own over the years, working for nonprofits and actually for a construction company at one point, I could tell you they got a pretty good job of making it look like a flooded house. This is the side where they've left it gutted out, as it would have been when levees.org acquired the property. Now, when you're gutting a house after it's flooded, you want to take the sheetrock away to at least 2 feet above where the flood line was. Now, considering this is right next to the breach, the entire house was flooded, so it got gutted all the way up through the ceiling. At that point, you then need to sanitize everything. Use something that will kill off that mold, scrub away the mold spores, and then spray it with usually something that's ammonia-based to kill those black mold. And then that starts the next process where you get to go back and put it all back in just like it was before. It's bad enough you're replacing electrical, you're going to replace plumbing, any appliances, any cabinets, anything that is made of any material that could hold mold, any organic material especially. It's not studs, it's getting replaced.
This is an example of what we would call in emergency management an X code or an X marking. Some people around here would call it a Katrina marking because it was marked on every house and every building in the area. But there's 4 quadrants in it, and how it works is that your rescue team or your search team, upon entry, will have 1 slash. On exit, they're going to finish the X. They're going to write the date, so September the 22nd, so almost a month later after the storm. You'll see at the bottom it has 0, so that means 0 people, breathing and non, were in the house. The other quadrant is going to be any hazards and things that you need to know before going into that house or other authorities going into that house. The other thing, you'll see PA1, and that's Pennsylvania. So we had states, I think even as far north as Alaska. We also had international help as well, like the Germans came, the Dutch came, the British came, all to help us recover.
This was the Flooded House Museum. If you want to come check it out yourself, it's need to get a car to it because it's in the Gentilly neighborhood. But if you do make it out here, just 2 lots over is also the Levy Museum, covering the breaches and what actually happened here in the city in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. It's a fascinating space that we'll talk about in a different video.